Hey everybody, how you doing? I'm Dr. Boyce Watkins from Your Black World, and I wanted to chime in a little bit on something that I think is of extreme importance in the black community, extreme national importance. It has to do with the shooting of Tamir Rice. In case you don't know, Tamir Rice was 12 years old when he was shot by police in Cleveland. It was a really disturbing incident. It was caught on video. Apparently, he had a toy gun, and the officer shot him without even giving him a chance to surrender, without communicating what was going on. It really looked like a murder. It wasn't just, again, it's not to say the officer did this deliberately or that he wanted to just kill a black person that day. But from what I saw in the video, there was clearly a huge error made on the part of the officer. And the error derived greatly, in my opinion, from the fact that a 12-year-old black boy is not seen the same as a 12-year-old white boy. There are a lot of studies that indicate this, that people see black males as a threat from about the age of 12 and above. And there's a fear that they have. There's a problem with black people being kind of an occupied force. We're being policed by people who are not from the community, which right there, that's a huge mistake. If they want to fix a lot of the police problem, you need to make rules and laws that say that cops have to live within, say, 10 miles of the area that they're set to police. That might solve a lot of problems. And when I went to dinner at Minister Louis Farrakhan's house not too long ago, I remember his son made a very good point where he said, you often see all white police officers in black neighborhoods, but you hardly ever see all black police officers in white neighborhoods. And I said that's a good point, and that led me down this path of thinking, well, why can't we police ourselves? Why do we have taxation without representation? When you go to many different cities, you'll see where the black community is paying taxes like everybody else, but the cops aren't doing their jobs. They're either not showing up when the violence occurs, or when they do show up, they just sort of go through with a stormtrooper kind of approach and take out everybody and don't feel any of the consequences of their behavior because they're going right back out to the suburbs. Things would probably be different if they lived in that neighborhood and they knew Mrs. Jenkins and they knew her son gets a little crazy every now and then. That they don't have to shoot him, and that there would be a community effect coming afterward if they were to go in and just decide to shoot Mrs. Jenkins' son and think that there would be no consequence. One of the most fundamental issues in policing, and I say this because I say this as a person whose my father was a cop for 25 years. I have a lot of admiration for officers who seek to do the right thing. I'm not a fan of people who say all police officers should die, all police officers are bad, all police officers want to kill black people. I don't like that because I think we do need cops, and I do think that it's a dangerous job. If you don't think it's a dangerous job, then you need to know what it's like to go out there when every time somebody's getting shot, everybody else is running away from the shooting. You got to run toward the shooting. Every time there's something going on, there's some kind of violence or craziness going on, you've got to run toward the violence. Everybody else is running away. If you don't think good cops have value, then just try to spend some time without police officers and let somebody come up and try to rob you and see how quickly you want the cops to help you. I think that's important. I think it's very important that we have this balance, because you can't just run around saying, death to all police officers. You can't say that. But here's what you can say. Here's what you should say, in my opinion. Um, there has been a huge issue with police feeling that there are no consequences for bad choices. And it really started in the war on drugs when they started to militarize police. They started to let them run roughshod in black neighborhoods, and do all kinds of crazy things, commit all forms of corruption, stealing drug money, robbing dope dealers. You have cops that were selling drugs. You have cops that were murdering people. And here's the big issue: grand juries almost never indict cops. They always assume that the cop can do no wrong. They always assume that the protection of the livelihood of that officer is more important than the preservation of human life. In fact, according to a study by the Department of Justice, and it's reported in the New York Times, did you know that out of 162,350 cases that federal prosecutors decided to prosecute, they only went away with a non indictment 11 times? Out of 1,600 and excuse me, 162,350 cases, they only went 11 times where there was a non-indictment by the grand jury. So the indictment is supposed to almost happen on autopilot. But at the same time, grand juries almost never indict cops, especially when these cops are accused of killing scary black people. So that's a problem. I mean, that's a huge injustice, and that's something that really needs to be talked about. I mean, that's something that can't sort of be swept under the rug. When Officer Tim Lohman shot Tamir Rice, you need to at least indict the man so you can go through the process of a trial. When you don't even issue an indictment, you're really saying to the people of the city of Cleveland, we don't care about you, especially if you're black. We care more about protecting the power of the state than we care about protecting the life of your child. Um, if that doesn't give people the right to speak out, the right to fight back, the right to just disrupt, I'm talking about major disruptions, then I don't know what does. I mean, I don't know about you, but any parent of their right mind should be willing to speak up and defend their children. If you can't speak up and defend your own damn kids, what kind of parents are you? What kind of community are you? I mean, if you're too scared to do anything radical to protect the lives of your kids, and you are not a parent, you are not a human being, you are not a your community is not worth defending if you don't think it's worth defending. Um, here's the other point that I thought was real interesting. You have a group of people that are a chorus that are calling for LeBron James to step away from the court or to show some sort of boycott or resistance in order to draw attention to what happened to Tamir Rice. Now, people ask me what I thought about that, and I thought about that really hard before I started talking about it. And the first thought that came to mind is this. Um, what they're asking LeBron to do is not outrageous. It's not just so unconventional and crazy that it's just sheer lunacy. You've had great athletes all the time who said that I want to use some of my power to help the people that I care about because the people that I care about helped me get to where I am today. Um, if somebody had not made sacrifices to protect LeBron as a little black boy growing up in the hood, he might not be playing basketball today because LeBron could have easily been Tamir Rice. LeBron could have easily, especially his 12-year-old, he was probably 6 foot tall. So you talk about a threat, 6 foot tall, muscle bound. You don't think LeBron would have been a threat, and that cop wouldn't have shot him without thinking about it? So Tamir Rice is LeBron James. They're the same person. They grew up in the same area. They had the same experience. So if LeBron can't feel some sort of empathy, at least enough empathy to make some sort of statement on the issue, then I think that what that says is that some of us get to the point, and I'm not talking about LeBron in particular, I'm talking about all of us, we get to the point where we really think that money means more than human life. We really think that serving the corporate master is always something that should take precedence over the things that matter to the people that we love. If that had been LeBron's little brother or LeBron's son, his sons are going to be big black boys. They are big black boys, very athletic black boys. Um, if his son gets shot by the police, I guarantee you that LeBron would do whatever it took to protect his child, even if it cost him his career, which nothing would. There's nothing that LeBron can do or say right now on this issue that would cause him irreparable harm as an economic entity, as an athlete, as the multimillionaire that he is. Let's understand this. I mean, I saw some people say this. Some people said, well, I mean, this is what I call the chicken Negro approach. Chicken Negro, like, we want fried chicken and we scared like chickens. The chicken Negro response is, well, none of y'all wouldn't take work or take off work to take a stand on these issues because you asking LeBron to do something that's unreasonable. No, none of y'all would take off work. And I saw that and I just thought about it. I said, well, brother, most of us aren't worth $250 million. Most people, if they were to take off work in order to make a point and lose their jobs, would probably be homeless in about a month and a half. Okay? Good jobs are scarce in Cleveland. LeBron James is not in that category. If LeBron James goes to Nike and says, I demand that we do something about this, they might not like it. It might make them a little uncomfortable, but they're not going to end that $500 million contract that they have with him because that paperwork has been signed. He might lose a few million, okay, but I guarantee you that every year for the next 20 years, beyond his playing days, LeBron will always pull at least 20 to 30 million a year, maybe 50, 60, 70 million a year. He's going the Michael Jordan path. So the fundamental question we got to ask ourselves as people, and remember, I'm a finance professor. I understand money. I teach the Black Wealth Boot Camp. I understand the power of money. But understand this, money is a funny thing. People talk about money like, when I get some money, you ain't going to be able to tell me nothing. When I get money, I'm going to be free. When I get money, I'm going to step up and say F you, and I'm going to go and do what I want to do. And so they see the power of money to free you and to liberate you. But what they don't see is the contrast where money can also enslave you. You think money becomes your liberator because when you get enough, you say, well, I don't have anything to worry about. I can speak up on whatever matters. I can do what I want to do. But actually, you find that money enslaves you because it turns you into an addict. You go from being afraid of not having enough money to being afraid of losing the money that you got. Because if you got $100 million in the bank, there's no reason why you should be afraid of losing $5 million. No reason at all. No reason. But because we live in a capitalist society, we've got to the point where we truly believe that money matters more than people. We do. Look at the government policies. The government will prosecute you harder for stealing money than they will for murdering a human being. That's just a fundamental fact. This issue, in my opinion, it's bigger than LeBron. It's bigger than him losing a couple dollars. It's all of that. It's about changing the trajectory of the city of Cleveland forever. By making a stand on this issue, and again, I'm not saying that that LeBron's a sellout for not doing this. I'm not going that route. He's a man. He's got his right to make his own decision. He's made some good choices over the years. I like LeBron, but understand this. You can do a lot for the city of Cleveland, winning a few games. Maybe y'all get a chance to win a championship. You've done amazing things for the city as an athlete. You've done a great job entertaining people in the city of Cleveland. They're going to remember you as a great athlete for as long as you live. I think the question becomes, and this is the gap between the LeBron Jameses and the Muhammad Ali's and the Jim Browns, is we know they're going to remember you as a great athlete, but will they remember you as a great citizen? And being a great citizen sometimes goes deeper than just, I'm gonna give a couple dollars to this charity over here, and I'm gonna show up and put on a Santa hat for the kids, and we're gonna go to the children's hospital and inspire the children. That's nice. Those are nice publicity stunts. The NBA cares. They take you, they videotape it, and they spend more money marketing what they did than they actually spent doing what they did. That's nice, but remember that a lot of that's bullshit. Just being real with you, a lot of that is just publicity, because they know they know that we set the bar very low in this country when it comes to truly making a difference. But if you look throughout history and you think about the black people you admire the most, think about the black people who really affected your life and made your life better to this day. 9 times out of 10, these are black people who put something on the line, something significant. They didn't just put a couple $1 million on the line like LeBron. They didn't put 2% of their income on the line. They died. These are black people that died. Martin Luther King died. Malcolm X died. Many of the Black Panthers died or went to prison for so long that their children didn't recognize them when they got out. That's the kind of sacrifice that was made for LeBron James to even be able to get on the court and dribble a damn basketball. So, before we get to the point where we just think that LeBron should just be, and other athletes, and it's not just LeBron, it's all these brothers, all these Negroes that are much quicker to go drop 100 grand on a fucking, excuse my French, to drop 100 grand on a gold chain than they ought to drop 100 grand building a school. All these Negroes need to get slapped sometimes. And I'm not talking about LeBron because I like LeBron. He was one of the first ones that actually made, that took a stand on the situation with Trayvon Martin back in Miami Heat. Remember he had him wear the hoodies? God bless him for that. I like the way LeBron thinks as a human being. He set the bar higher as an athlete. He's better than Kobe, better than Jordan, because Kobe and Jordan set the trend for selfishness among black celebrity athletes. LeBron does not follow that trend. So this is not a LeBron bashing kind of situation, but this is about getting real and saying, you know, if that's your son and your son gets blown away by the cops and nobody's willing to even lose a little money to make a point, I mean, what is that really saying to you? And what does it say that if Tamir Rice had been the son of a LeBron James, we would have had a very different reaction? And I think that LeBron and his friends would expect you to make a stand for his son, as he would be doing. But these athletes won't make a stand for your child. Um, so what I would just say is that, look, when you talk about going on strike, people go on strike for lesser reasons than just things like things like someone dying. Like, people go on strike because they didn't get a pay raise. They haven't got a pay raise for 5 years, so we're going on strike. You look at the city of Cleveland. There's a long history of labor disputes and other issues that come up, where people are mad because the terms of their contract weren't right, so they went on strike. Well, I would argue that based on the values that we claim to espouse as a society, human life matters more than money, which means that if you're going to go on strike over a pay cut, you should also be willing to go on strike over the death of a child. Um, Now, maybe for some people, the death of a 12-year-old boy doesn't matter. Maybe it's just not a big deal. It's something we're going to recover from, and you just kind of keep moving. But I personally think that if you don't make a point, if you don't stop police terror, then police terror will never stop. If you don't make a stand and let cops know, look, we're going to be watching you. We're going to hold you accountable, and there will be hell to pay if you come in here and you kill our babies. Then they're going to keep coming in there and killing your babies. While LeBron certainly has a right to respond the way he wants, LeBron does not have to do anything. LeBron does not have to disrupt his contract with the Cavs, with Nike, with all the corporations he's connected to. He is a corporate cyborg, like a lot of these athletes are. They're connected to the corporations, and so there's all these good behavior clauses. I mean, okay, make your money. He doesn't have to do a thing. But just because LeBron has the right to not do anything in response to the death of Tamir Rice, that does not mean that the citizens of Cleveland who care do not have the right to put pressure on LeBron to say, you know what, to make our point, we've learned a lesson in the last couple years as black people. We have learned a really valuable lesson. We've learned that when we disrupt economic commerce, we are able to achieve substantive change when it comes to social issues in our society. We learned in Minneapolis, Black Lives Matter figured out that if we go down and we shut down the Mall of America at Christmas, that they're going to pay attention to our issues a little bit more than they did before. We know that if we block the airport at Christmas time during the heavy travel season, we're going to be making a point. The people in Chicago learned that if we stand and we block the front door of Macy's so people can't go on their holiday shopping spree, they're going to learn that black lives really do matter. That the deaths of black children do make a difference. It does mean something to us. So, if LeBron chooses to be overcommitted to the corporation and undercommitted to the preservation of black life, then black people also have the right to shut down LeBron as well. Because this is not, and I really promise you when I say this, when I say that, or I'm being honest with you, I don't have an issue with LeBron. But when you're choosing to go through all kinds of leaps and bounds to show your honor and loyalty to the corporation, but not willing to do hardly anything to show your loyalty to the community from which you came, you've made a choice. You're saying, look, me and Nike and McDonald's and the Cavs, we're one and the same. We're all, I'm choosing this side. I know the death of Tamir Rice was bad, and I really hate that happened. It kind of made me sad, but I'll give a couple dollars to charity. But hey, you know what? I'm connected to these people. I roll with these people over here, so I can't really roll with you. Because if he didn't have all those corporate obligations, I do believe he would be rolling with these people. Stevie Wonder can see the injustice in this situation. Anybody can see that this was a horrible injustice. So the fact that LeBron has chosen consciously to align himself with the corporation over the people, then the people must treat LeBron and the corporation as if they are one. So that means that if your goal is to make your point by shutting down commerce at all these department stores and all these people making money off the black community, but don't give a damn when black kids get killed, then LeBron must be shut down too. I don't know how people would want to do that, but if people did show up to the Cavs games and say, hey, we're not going to let the Cavs play another game until we get justice for Tamir Rice, I would not blame them. If they did things to continue to pressure LeBron and say, hey, man, look, we need you. We've supported you. We raised you. You're one of us. Your family needs you. These are your people. If they keep pressuring him in that way, there's nothing wrong with that. So it doesn't mean that the chicken Negro approach does not have some sort of right or merit or whatever you want to call it, or right to free speech. They can say that, they can complain all day and say, well, he's going to lose money, and that's just bad when somebody loses money. Okay, that's fine. Well, you need to stand up and say, but it's even worse when we lose a human life, and we're just not going to tolerate that. We're not going to even hear an argument that says that money should matter more than this child's death. And I think that's the bottom line. So that's why I stand on the LeBron thing. I don't, and again, I have to keep reiterating that I actually like LeBron a lot. I know people that know him, and I've just confirmed he's a good person, and so that's why it bothers me to kind of have to take a position like this. But I think the days of black athletes and entertainers just sucking the life out of the community, sucking resources from the community, or allowing big white corporations to use them as a liaison to the community to get wealth, to extract wealth from black consumers. The days of them being able to do that, to be able to use almost like as a corporate hoe in a way, and sucking economic life from the black community without any sort of obligation, expectation, or consequence, those days should be gone. Those days should be gone because corporations have been using black athletes to milk you since day one. Nike is like, look, we need all these black athletes to line up and tell black kids to go spend their last dollar buying a pair of Jordans, so they'll line up around the block to buy these shoes. You have entertainers being used in the same way to sell everything, from shoes to payday loans or whatever it is. And it's fine. People can do what they want to do, but at the same time, you have to do what matters to you. They're doing what matters to them. Money matters to them. That's pretty much it. They made that point. Maybe life matters to you. If life matters to you, then speak up. And when you hear the Negro naysayers say, "Oh, well, that's not realistic," or "that ain't gonna work," just either ignore them or say, they used to say the same thing back when you had black people that were giving their lives to fight slavery. They used to say the same thing. Slavery will never end. You'll never get, the white man will never let you be free. You'll never have any kind of rights in this country. So why are you even fighting for it? And believe me, if they'd had that same attitude 200 years ago, your ass would still be looking like Kunta Kinte back on the plantation. And that's just a fundamental fact. So not everybody's meant to be a soldier. Not everybody's going to stand on the front line. But that does not mean that you should reduce your level of outrage over the death of Tamir Rice. And it doesn't mean that you shouldn't utilize every inch of power that you have in order to make a point. So, LeBron can align himself with the corporations. That's fine. But he needs to know that there's going to be a price for that. That, this little boy died. And we're looking to you. We've elevated you. We've lifted you up as King James. Well, they have that saying, heavy is the head that wears the crown. Well, you wearing the crown of the king? Well, being the king isn't just about sitting back and getting the glory. Being the king means going to battle when the time calls for it, and it's more than just going to battle on the basketball court. Basketball and wealth should not be an ends. It should be a means. It should be a tool that you utilize for the betterment of humanity. And the betterment of humanity goes deeper than just polite charitable donations to your select organization. Sometimes it means you need to get your ass out there and fight. And if there's anything worth fighting over, it's for the death of a child. I can't think of anything more severe than the death of a little boy at the hands of police that have been proven time and time again to be nothing more than terrorists in the black community. So that's all I want to say. I'm Dr. Boyce Watkins from Your Black World. Please take care. God bless. I'm gone. Peace.